Judge Cleric Corrupted Sword. This is an interesting one. This is a very interesting one because there's many things to consider about this thing. Just as a reminder, we're making this build because we have a brand new special skill for this weapon. So that is how we're going to structure this video. First, I'm going to explain to you how do we get the special attack of the weapon. Then we're going to make the build. And then we're going to discuss a little bit about the effectiveness and how are we going to use this weapon. Because like I said, it is a very interesting weapon, but this is not a weapon that I would suggest for you to use during your first playthrough. That being said, I think that depending on the build, depending on how do you like to see this weapon, this could potentially be one of the, if not the best weapon in the game. Very loved by everyone. The only downside is that you cannot start a new playthrough with this, get it mid-playthrough, and then enjoy it throughout the rest of the playthrough. So this is a New Game Plus weapon, or in the sense that you do want to do that thing, this is a weapon that someone can drop to you, and that's some way that you can use the Judge Cleric Corrupted Sword. First, the hidden skill. Remember, we have two of them. The 201, which is my favorite. This is the one that deals the more damage because it has that little something going forward, and this deals 2k damage depending on whether you use it or not point blank on the enemy. And then you have this one that doesn't deal that much damage but has those little explosions right here, that this is a little bit more for AoE, but it's a little bit less controllable. So this one I don't really like that much, if I'm being honest with you. If I can avoid that, I prefer to keep using the rest, the other one. So, how do I actually manage to get this skill working? The main thing is that you're going to need a gesture, and this is hardly missable. You're going to find this on the Mans of the Hallowed Brothers or on the Abbey. Let me show you, as a matter of fact, real fast. It's going to be right here at the Abbey, below a tree, where you're going to first find Stormin again. So yeah, that's where you're going to find it. It's going to be openly, plainly on open sites. And all you have to do is get the gesture, which is the Hallowed Sentinel Prayer, come to Pietas and use it. She's going to trigger a dialogue. Finish out that dialogue, and that is going to be one of the first steps. The second step is that you are going to necessarily need a quest item right here, which I have many of them, but this is going to be the one, the Thorn Chalice. And you get the Thorn Chalice by defeating the Judge Cleric. I'm not very clear, I'm not very certain about this. Some people believe that you have to follow the quest line of the little guy, the Tank Inkshire, or it has a very weird name. I just can't remember that name that right now for the sake of me. But I mean, that's part of his quest, to my knowledge, because I think that, again, this is a little bit of speculation. I think that during this playthrough I didn't talk to him in every single location. I'm pretty sure that I didn't. So there's an item that you would need for his quest, but it is not an item that, it is not a quest that you need to do for the item. So might be wrong, might be right. Little bit of clarification in the comment section down below would be very much appreciated. Just be sure that you're sure about what is it that you are placing down there. So that is basically everything that you need to do for the special attack. Now let's talk about the stats that we're going to need for this weapon, and let's discuss it a little bit more, you know, because like I said, this is a quality weapon. If you place stats in every single place, this is one of the best, most highly damaging weapons for a high level character. So here I have a quality build for Inferno and Radiance, and even then I want you to notice on the background, the gameplay on the background, that even when we are a quality weapon, this thing can deal up to 2k damage in some attacks that you are going to see during the rendition that you have the gameplay in the background. 2k damage for one weapon that we haven't even managed to reach the 50% of its damage and potential capacity. Because this right here, it's not... I mean, I'm using this character template as a template so that you can build upon it. This is what you're going to do once you reach your first playthrough, the end of your first playthrough. You're either going to be 120 to 130-ish character level. But if you decided to go into New Game Plus, what you're going to want to do is pop points into Radiance and Inferno. Let's remember that we have a soft cap between 40 and 50. The soft cap between 40 and 50, we have managed to reach that. After 50, we get more diminishing returns all the way up to 75. 75 is the next hard cap. Beyond that, it really is no point in placing more points up until 99, where you're going to be stopped completely, receive any damage in returns. But moving forward from here, if you decide to go to New Game Plus, if you want to level up your character a little bit more, your ideal goal would be reaching 75 Inferno and 75 Radiance to reach the maximum capacity of the hard cap for your character and deal as much damage as humanly possible. But hey, what do you know? This weapon also has scaling on strength and agility, dexterity. So if you want to pop things further, you want to go beyond that, that's something that you can do as well. So yeah, that's crazy, that's amazing. But for right now, this template for the end game, once you finish your first playthrough, all of the rendition that you are seeing in the gameplay background, the 2k damage that you see me doing right here in certain charge heavy attacks, that is going to be based on this character that has 47 Radiance and 45 Inferno. So imagine how deadly this thing is going to be once you manage to go to New Game Plus and level up. When you're reaching that New Game Plus and with the patches that we have been having where they buff the boss's health bar and how Elian the stuff is so annoying when you reach New Game Plus, I think that this is one of the best weapons that you can be using, that you can have in your arsenal, because it just reaches disgusting amounts of damage. So let's talk about the weapons and the equipments, because it is very interesting what we're doing right here. As for the shield, you were able to see that I had a little bit more vitality because I have a rune vitality into my shield and a stamina regeneration rate on my shield. That is really not that important. For my catalyst, I'm using the Los Verescus catalyst, because yeah, we have Radiance and Inferno scaling on A. If you have a better one, be my guest, you can use a better one. As for the weapon, we have the Judge Cleric's Corrupted Sword right here. For the armor, I'm not using anything special, it's just a mixture between the Paladin and the Judge Cleric's armor. The one thing that it is very important is the amulets, because as you can see, even though that I am using the Los Verescus Catalyst, I'm using quite a lot of Radiance. That is the case because I think that Radiance is very meta. One of the highest damaging spells for PvE, it's Pietas, Last Reflections. So it just deals tremendous amounts of damage. If you combine that with your proper scaling that you have for Radiance and Inferno, and you pop that up all the way up and up and up, this thing is just going to get deadlier and deadlier. As for range damage, we have Latimer's Javelin, which is, in my opinion, the best ranged spell that you have in the game. It deals so much damage. The damage can range between 1k to 1.5k depending on resistances of the enemy, and even higher than that when you raise your Radiance and Inferno, which, remember, I just have reached the soft cap for this character. This thing goes even higher than that. And then we have the Healing Radiance. We also have the Radiant Weapon to increase our Radiant or Holy damage. This could be changed. For example, let me see if I have that right here. I don't have right here the rest of the spells, but you can be using Umbral Weapon, you can be using Poison Weapon. There's many things that you can be using right here if you want to take advantage of the specific resistances and weaknesses of the enemy. All of the enemies that I'm fighting right here in the gameplay that you see in the background are wholly resistant, and still we're wrecking them. And then you can have one more slot right here for Pierce Light that you can change for something different that you would feel like you could change that too. But we're managing that because of the Ring of the Radiant Preeminence, because this allows us to cast Radiant sorceries with a non-Radiant catalyst. That is why we're able to do so. And then we have the Mine Owner's Ring to increase our stamina regeneration rate. Finally, we have the Imperium Pendant. Since mostly I'm using holy damage, this is not going to benefit natively from the weapon that much, because the weapon scaling, the weapon holy base damage, it's really not that much. The weapon damages that you can see, they spread all throughout physical, holy, and fire, so that pendant is not going to benefit that much from that. But it is going to benefit when we use the Radiant weapon, which is going to increase the damage of this thing, and it is also going to benefit when you use Blessed Reflections, which then again, Blessed Reflections are one of the best things that you have in this game. The runes, it is a little bit farmy. You have Makev right here. This is the one that I've noticed that increases the damage the most, all things considered. But then again, this is a rune that you have to farm for. This is not something very common. I do have a couple of them right here. They increase the Radiant and the Inferno attribute scaling. So it just works perfect for everything that we're doing right here. It increases our scaling for the damage of our Judge Cleric's Corrupted Sword. That actually increases our damage a little bit. As for the fire one, you can be using to increase the fire damage. You could also be using one to increase the your scaling on your Inferno. One more thing that I think that it could be a good idea to have right here is, for example, some health upon kill. This is really not going to make that huge of a difference damage wise, because the damage building, we have completely different things for that to take care of that. But hey, so I'm guessing that depending on the runes that you have right here, I don't have that many runes to choose from on this specific character. And since I don't have that many runes to choose from this specific character, then you know that you're not going to have that huge of an issue trying to get this Makev right here. So yeah, there is indeed that. That is pretty much everything. One thing that I love about the special attack about this weapon is that it only uses one Soul Flay charge. And the Soul Flay charges, you gain them as you are exploring, and as a matter of fact, you will notice during the rendition of the gameplay that you see in the background that usually I'm using my weapon special attack whenever I find a lead that I'm not using very certain specific spells. When I don't have my special attack, then I can use my spells. So the weapon is something that it can be using to deal with trash mobs, enemies around that. It's going to deal just filthy amounts of damage. Usually it's going to be 1k hit per damage. When you charge your heavies, it's going to be 2k all the way to 2 and 0.5k depending on enemies, again, enemies resistances and whatnot. But again, the weapon, you use it for trash mobs. That is what you're going to be using your weapon for. The special attack you're going to be using for leads. Usually it's going to kill them in one tap. If it doesn't kill them in one tap, the second one is going to do the trick. One more thing that I love about the special attack about this weapon is that it has hyper armor. So you can be trading with this weapon. And we don't mind about trading with this weapon because remember that we have our healing radiance right there. So overall, this is one of those god tier pills that you have everything, that you do not need to worry about anything. The only thing that I would worry about, the only thing that I see as a downside about this is that if you're doing this the regular way, you're not going to have access to this until the very end game, where you have to fight the Judge Corrupted Cleric, and by killing the Judge Corrupted Cleric, you get the item that you need to be able to use the special skill. One more thing that I would like to point out, that I would like to see if someone could possibly clarify in the comment section down below, because I'm not really sure about this, and this could be a huge deal if it is the case. This is something that you do not get access to until the end game. If you start New Game Plus, I'm hoping that the weapon skill attack doesn't go away until you manage to reach the end game again, because it would be really useless then, the special attack of this weapon. What would be the point to go into New Game Plus if you're going to be stripped away of your special attack and you have to go all the way throughout the end of New Game Plus to get that next item that you need to regain your special attack? So I do not know. I mean, all of this thing about special attacks, it's just brand new to me. To be fairly honest, I never used the special attacks for the Light Reapers in the past, and for Pietas, like the weapon skill, you could get it very early. So in my playthroughs about that, it was very early that I could be using my weapon skills. But I'm just hoping that you just have to complete all of this questline and process for the weapon attack during their first playthrough, and that is not a requirement anymore for New Game Plus, because if it is, then that is a bummer, and I think that would be really, really dumb. Anyways, if you like the content, like and very super appreciated. And honestly, you there, you're a gorgeous beautiful person. Remember to join the Discord if you want for someone to drop you the weapon, you want to play with people, you want to receive assistance from me, I can drop you the weapon. Join the Discord. We're always discussing about the games in there, and we're probably going to be covering games that launch in the future right there in the Discord. Like the video, subscription is always super appreciated, and I wish that you have a lovely rest of your day, you damn gorgeous and beautiful people. Have a beautiful day, goodbye.